Okay, it's gonna stay on. We're all good. Okay. I have a desk treadmill. I'm gonna take a step back. I'm really so instead of moving the desk treadmill, I just stand on it throughout the day and I have a standing mat on it. So I'm a little higher up. But if I take one step back too far, I will fall off and it will look very silly. So I'm not gonna do that. Hi guys, welcome back. My name is Lynn the Cosplayer, and yes, it has been a hot minute since I've done a video. Can you blame me? My past 12 months have been absolutely insane. Um, I think I did a year-end video where I talked about everything, but yes, I had 2 back surgeries within the span of 2 months in the winter. And after that, I was solely zoning in on recovery, and now that I am kind of back to being mostly a whole person, life has moved on, and it's just like so much stuff is like all happening at once. Sometimes I feel like life saves things up until you can handle them, and then it's like, oh, you're doing well physically? Yeah, here's a bajillion things that you got to do now. So that's where I am, and it's June and it's beautiful out, and I just want to be outside. But I'm doing a video today because I have some important topics to talk about. And if you're wondering, yes, I did do a review of SoccerCon 2025. It's long, it's very edited, but I don't know, like everyone else's reviews looked way better than mine. They actually were in all the craziness and the excitement. Like they got footage of the smoke pouring out of the Cheesecake Factory. They got footage of the crazy line to pick up badges that was all the way down 2 blocks of Seattle streets. And mine just like, it's okay, but I don't think it's quite as exciting. So I'm gonna wait and I'm gonna just release it later. Like it's not a big deal right now. Today's topic, we're going back into the controversial side of cosplay, and there's 2 things I want to talk about today. So we're going to do kind of like 2 smaller topics instead of one bigger one, but they are so important because they are incredibly relevant right now, and they both have to do with social media. So the reason why I come on and talk about controversial stuff is because I don't make money off cosplay, which means I can talk about whatever I want. And also I can say my real opinion, not watered down, not to sound pretty and sweet, but like what I actually feel and how I've seen the community change. So 2 rare things. Number 1, I'm not sponsored or affiliated. And number 2, I've been doing cosplay for 18 years. So I started out as the crazy anime nerd in middle school who, like, you had to keep your love of anime and video games hidden because if anyone knew that you went and played Kingdom Hearts obsessively for hours and hours and hours after school, you'd be made fun of. That does not happen anymore. Well, not to the extent it used to. So with that, I've seen the community change in a lot of different ways, and I started doing the cosplay series where we talk about controversial subjects because I had a lot to talk about. I have a lot of opinions, but also it makes me sad because I'm starting to see some trends that I am really not liking, and people kind of just assume whatever they see online is real, and I want to get rid of people's ideas that these things are normal in any way or that they've even been going on in the community for more than a couple years. So the first topic we are talking about, it's so bad. Like I feel awkward bringing this up because I know that a lot of people out there either 1, have done these actions at some point in the past, or 2, support someone else who has done these actions, and it's not a good look. It is it's just not good. Let's go into this. Guys, are we lost in the sauce when it comes to entitlement of being a cosplayer? So this really weird thing happened where people figured out, oh my gosh, on social media, I can't just like look good and like be normal. I have to do something unique that makes people on social media want to watch me. And it was like cosplay and social media, when they came together, it was a massive explosion because all of these people who would have ostracized others in real life could now privately watch cosplayers, like scrolling through your phone on Instagram, you see a cosplayer like in a video and their costume is really, really good. And you can see it up close and you don't know this person. And also no one knows that you're watching this. This was the secret sauce that suddenly made cosplay socially acceptable. And as it became more widely known and people actually showed their processes online of, this is how I make this, and like, I love this character because this, or they saw really amazingly edited videos, great acting skills, stuff like that. Suddenly, cosplay was no longer ostracized. People knew what it was. And also, it was okay to do it. And it was okay to do it seriously. It was okay to do it funny and do skits. It was okay to compete. Things that had been weird for the longest time suddenly were normal. So normal that Hot Topic started selling anime merch. And you could go to the mall and find Studio Ghibli things. And not only that, if you were at school or work and you said the word cosplay, people knew what you were talking about, or at least a brief understanding. Things changed so much. But more recently, the topic I want to bring up is cosplay influencers going to conventions as guests. But when does it switch from being a very nice partnership between the convention and the guest, and when does it change to entitlement of the influencer? So this is so awkward for me to bring up, but I actually saw a cosplay influencer recently who was complaining because they were invited to be an honored guest at a convention, and although they were being comped for badge and other things, their entire trip, including rental car and meals, were not being comped. And they thought it was only fair that the convention should not only give them a free badge and pay for some things, but they should pay for the entire trip because they invited them. So I want you guys to stop and think about this as if it were any other hobby. If you were invited to do something, to come to an event as a guest, and they sent you a free ticket or a free badge, and they were like, hey, we'd love to have you here, would you complain that that was not enough, that you wanted to have your entire trip comped and be paid for to go to that event that you supposedly love to do? And I know it's really, really weird because I think that some cosplay influencers see themselves as actual celebrities. Like, we have celebrities who do acting, who do singing, who have created brands, whatever it is. And then we have influencers. And for the longest time, those were very separated, but with so much, commotion going on in the world, I think the water got a little blurry, and people who are influencers now think that they are entitled to the same honor and special treatment as like an actual celebrity would be. We've all seen it, guys. Like, we've seen the emails where cosplayers, or not cosplayers, we've seen it online where influencers have emailed hotels saying like, I want a free vacation at your luxury hotel. I'm an influencer. This is how many followers I have. Give it to me. I have seen a lot of brands trying to collab with someone, and the person is like, that's not enough, I want more, or I should be able to get freebies whenever I want, or things like that. It's very, very weird. And again, when we are talking about cosplayers going to a convention, to have someone show up as a judge where they are actually working while they are there, or if they are going to be like a talk show host or something where they're actually being put to work while they're there, it makes sense to be like, hey, we'd like to hire you for our event to be this person at the event to come fill this role. That makes sense to have your trip actually paid for fully by the event. If not, whatever else you need, I guess meals and stuff. When it comes to cosplay influencers where they're like, hey, we would love to invite you to our event. Here's a free badge. Here's some money or free merch. Honestly, that should be enough for a cosplay influencer. It is so weird to me that an influencer would expect someone to invite them to an event and say, hey, we know who you are. It's really cool. We love your work. Here's a free badge. It is so strange to me to see a cosplay influencer blowing up Instagram complaining about this event, saying, well, that's not enough because I would do a video, I would do content creation while I'm there, like I would be vlogging, I would need to go home and edit that. That's a ton of work. And the whole point, I think we've gotten lost in the sauce. The whole point is that if you really loved going to these conventions, that's why they would invite you, because you're affiliated with them in some way. Like maybe they're in your area. Maybe that's where you started doing cosplay. Maybe you go to this every year and you're always posting videos with the gazebo in the back or whatever it is. But to have a convention reach out to you and you're like, money, I want money. Give me free stuff. Give me money. Pay me for this. It's giving mean girl vibes. It's giving, I'm not at the party, I am the party. And the only reason why other people show up is because I'm here, because I'm that important. And it's gross and it's strange. And it's very strange because if you were to compare it to any other hobby, people in their right mind, like if I'm trying to think of like all the stuff that I do that I don't make money off of. I do a lot of creative endeavors because I just like it. I like gardening. I've been doing henna tattoos since I was like 13. I've done a lot of festivals and events and stuff. But if someone reached out to me and they were like, hey, we would love to invite you to our henna event, crazy convention that's going to be down in California. Here's a free badge and we'd love to send you some free merch. And I was like, ooh, guys, I can't take that off work, or I can't afford to go. Like a flight and a hotel is going to cost a lot of money. I wouldn't reach out to the event and go, okay, well, where's my free plane ticket? Where's my free hotel? It just seems very entitled to me. And it seems like maybe the barrier has gotten a little too muddy, where people do not understand that even though you make content online and you have like 2 million followers and you get a lot of likes, and now you have some brands that have like given you money to advertise for them, you are not a celebrity. Like, you are not in movies, you're not a voice actor. This is not stuff where you go because people actually go to the event to see you. To think that you pull enough people going into an event that the event should pay you is very silly to me, especially because when I go to conventions, I come on here on YouTube and I make reviews for free. No, they are not crazy edited. No, I don't spend 5 days like putting in special effects and vlogging and all that stuff. But there are many people that do that stuff also for free. But I don't think you should just expect, like, if I go to your event and I'm big enough online, I need to actually be paid and compensated for being there. Because guess what? Most of your content and your followers wouldn't be there had you not gone to those events in the first place. Like, most of the cosplayers got the following they did because they vlogged at events and they posted it online, and people were like, hey, I go to that event, I want to see it. Or, oh, I've never been there, I've always wondered, and they watch because it's kind of interesting. So to be like, this event that actually got me my followers now needs to pay me is such a, like, it's just a very strange mindset. I try to wrap my head around it, and I think, like, okay, I get it. If you were like, I don't want this to be a hobby, I want this to be like an actual job that I have that I can make a full-time income off comfortably, this is not the way to do it. And again, what I like to remind everyone, guys, 15 years ago, influencers didn't exist. So what exactly promises that in another 15 years, they will still be here? Or even in the same capacity, or even will have the same laws around it. Like, there is nothing stopping, influencers who are like associated with companies and stuff. There is no guarantee that in the future there won't be laws or things against it where it won't be harder or impossible to make income from doing social media. I know, it's very new, it's very fun, it's exciting, but it probably won't be around forever, and to base your entire lifestyle and income off of it seems very risky and very scary. I know there are some YouTubers and there's some Instagram people who have made like a very pretty penny off of doing it. I won't lie about that. But how many other hundreds of thousands have tried and it did not work out that well for them? What I will say though is having main character syndrome is not a pretty look, and especially on public social media platforms where everyone can see you having a breakdown and complaining against events or against, I don't know, associates, coordinators, things of events for not giving you enough free stuff, when I'm like, dude, if someone sent me a free badge for a convention, I would be like, this is awesome. I love this. How cool is this? So to see someone else going, well, they didn't pay me for everything for my trip, or they said they were going to do this and they didn't do that. And I'm like, okay, again, you're a cosplay influencer. You are not a celebrity. You're not the most important person there. Trust me, they're voice actors, they're Marvel studio actors that are there. Those are the people actually bringing massive amounts of fans and money in. It's really cool that they want you to be there, that they know who you are, that you've gotten an invitation. But maybe check yourself before you wreck yourself when it comes to what you think you being there is actually adding to the event, because that's why they're sending you a free badge. They think you're going to add something. So ask yourself, how much am I really adding by being there? Okay, we're going on to my second topic. If anyone's still around, they haven't left now, from the anger. Okay, so the next thing I want to bring up is the fact of, well, I guess it's not like a fact, but cosplaying has really changed in the way that we decide who we are going to cosplay as. And like I said earlier, guys, I've been around here for 18 years. I have seen a lot of characters come and go, and I've seen a lot of people cosplay as the same character, especially at the same convention. So one of the stories I always like to tell is that I think it was the second convention I ever went to, Death Note was like super popular. The anime, the manga, like people at school were all reading it and watching it. It was like a really, really big deal. And if you were an anime lover, you probably had watched it, because who hadn't? It was popular. So going to this convention, there were so many L's there. You know, jeans, white shirt, spiky black hair, or a wig. It's very easy to cosplay as L. And so many people were cosplaying as him, to the point where you start to see groups of people where everyone in the group was L. And as we went through this convention, they were going around trying to collect all the L's. So before photo shoots were like organized online, I know that sounds crazy, but like people used to organize photo shoots at conventions by just going around and being like, hey, you're in a Final Fantasy outfit. Do you want to come meet us outside at 3 p.m.? We're going to try to get a group of people together for a photo shoot. And that's how you got invited to photo shoots. So a lot of times it was just like by chance during the day. If people had some photographer friends there, that would be cool too. It was very less formal than it is now. And so at this convention, I started out in the morning seeing a couple L's walking around together. And then around noon, there was like a group of like, oh, that's weird. There's like 10 L's there. Strange. And then later on, there was like 20 L's. And then at one point, there was just a huge, massive group of L's and even a few lights in there, like all walking together through the convention. And I always tell that story because it just makes me crack up about how strange things you would see at conventions used to be. So with that being said, people cosplaying the same character has never been strange or unusual, but the way that we are doing it now is very, very different. And the reason why I bring that up is because I have realized in the past, I don't know, like 5 to 8 years, I have gone from doing cosplays of characters that I think people would like to see to actually doing cosplays of characters I have always wanted to do. And I've started to realize one of the biggest things holding me back was that I just felt like, if I did this character, would anyone even know who I am? Or like, would anyone want to take my picture? Or what if I go and no one says anything about my costume? Like they just completely ignore me. And I started to realize that was a massive issue. I should not have been asking myself those questions, because those questions are totally irrelevant to actually doing cosplay, like the reason why I do it. And the fact that I had fallen into this headspace of, well, I better do a character because they're like cool and popular right now, scared me a little bit. And I withdrew myself. I was like, if I'm going to spend my time and money on making costumes or buying them, I want it to be for characters that actually have a meaning to me and a connection, and that not only do I like them, but like I feel very passionate about them for whatever reason. And that's when I started doing some of my favorite characters, like Cornelia Hale from Witch, that old series. I did Lady Amalthea from The Last Unicorn. I currently have all the materials right now because I really want to remake my Anastasia. I pre-bought an Anastasia costume from MIC Costumes forever ago. And with Joann's going out of business, I was like, ooh, I'm gonna go buy a bunch of like the really expensive like wedding lace and stuff. And then eventually I'll remake the Anastasia costume, you know, in my own style with my own supplies. And even more recently, because I'm going to be going to SummerCon this month and Dawn Bluth and Jodie Benson will both be there, I decided to create a Thumbelina costume that I've been working very hard on. The wig almost broke me, you guys. It's the hardest thing I have ever done. It has taken me like 2 months, but I'm still going. And I realized that the costumes I spend the most time and energy on, these are characters that I actually love and care about. They mean something to me. They had some sort of influence in my life. So it's really weird when I'm going on social media and I'm scrolling through and I'm literally seeing just the same 20 cosplay characters from like the same 5 shows that have been trending for the past year or two. That's all that I see when I scroll. And I'm like, where's our old school cartoons? Where's our old school like kids movies? Where's the anime that like shaped you as a preteen when you were going through a rough time? I found someone that cosplays Nana characters and I was like, holy crap, you never see this. Like, it's so rare, even though it was the top selling manga in Japan and it has a massive following. I mean, they just had a huge anniversary for it. They released some figures this past year. And it's so weird to think that something could be so important and popular to people, but they won't cosplay it because people won't look at them for cosplaying it. I notice a lot of people seem confused also why you would cosplay a character that isn't trending. Um, and I hate to say it, but the actual truth is, guys, like, if I wore my Cornelia outfit, even though I bedazzled it and I have like fake skin mesh panels and buttons, and like it's actually a really cool outfit, like I could do cartwheels or flips in that thing easily and it would stay on me. It would never win in a cosplay competition because number one, it's not super cool and impressive. There's not like lights, there's not moving parts in it. It's not a huge mecha character. It's not something that has 20,000 layers. But also, it's from something that's older, and people tend to kind of forget about older stuff, especially older stuff that was popular but is not currently trending. No one cares about that. Will you see a bajillion people cosplaying from Jujutsu Kaisen and from whatever new Zelda game is out? Yeah, because that stuff's cool and trending. You're going to see it in costume competitions, and people who are judges are going to know who those characters are. You're not going to see Cornelia Hale from Witch because it's not impressive enough to the judges. Like that's the real truth. And people want to act like this is not true, but it really is. That's why you don't see people cosplaying these characters. Not because they don't love them and they are obsessed and shape them some way in their lives, but because they just won't get viewers. And it's kind of funny because most of the viewers that I did get from doing that costume on my Instagram page were people who aren't from the US, they're from Europe, because Witch was way bigger in Europe than it was here. I don't know, it's kind of interesting. So, would you spend time and money on a character you love? Yeah. But would you spend more time and money on a competition piece of a character you want to win? Or on a character that you think you're going to be photographed with a lot of other people? Do you feel like you need to live up to some sort of expectation? Does your character need to be cool enough, relevant enough, have a good enough reputation in the cosplay community? Those are things that are good to check in and ask yourself, because when you switch from the mindset of, I love this character and I just want to like do them justice, to, well, I'm going to a really big event, so I better wear my big impressive outfit that like everyone knows this one character because I'll get way more photos. Gotta be really careful. There's a very thin line. So I don't know, I just want to bring that up. I want to see if anyone else noticed it too. Okay, guys, I'm cutting the video here. I've talked way too much, blah, 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 blah. You get it. But I hope maybe this added something to your day, and I would love to hear your own opinions on it. Have you noticed the entitlement in the cosplay influencer sphere? What do you guys think about it? And also, do you think cosplay has changed? Like the characters people choose to do, if they're popular enough, you know, all that stuff? Let me know. Anyways, I'll see you guys back here. Have a good night. Bye, guys.